World changes. 65 throws. Okay, cool. And then there caused me concern. Let's see. We want to pull up the calendar. So these public hearing, what date were you thinking of? I mean, because we got to advertise them. Let's say we go out and get them in the paper Thursday. No way it's going to happen this week. Sorry, that's not correct. Let's say it winds up in Monday's paper. We got to go for 20 days, right? 27. Well, you want to do these in January? Scott?
Yes.
No, I'm sorry, this ain't yours. This is
Well, I've got one coming up
for next week.
Do
Do you mind if we do these in January or 9th? Well, here's what I'm thinking. When we look at this, we got to run these 20 days, right? Minimum. Well, that puts us on the week of the 19th, week before Christmas. Now, we don't have commissioners court. We could hold commissioners court. We just moved court the next week to the 27th. If we do it on 27th, that could happen, but people make a complaint.
Yeah, I did one last week, and I thought we did push it out into January.
We did to the 9th of January. And what I'm asking for is because I don't think Paula did it, and I didn't check her, but I'll check in a minute. She hadn't sent in the notice yet. And if I could wrap all these up in a single notice in the paper, we can save much money. Thank you.
No, it's
December.
Man, you're always skipping on us. What's the story?
I'm pretty sure you said you were.
You're having trouble. Okay, well, don't be here then. That's fine.
When can you come in here? Can you come in and just have a cabin?
Man, I thought you guys were old when you had to start wrinkling. That's something else.
What do they do? They go in there and laser.
That doesn't sound fun. I'm going to say
Goes in and curves. That right eye goes straight across.
it's these non-county conversations that really wig me out before these meetings. You know, we hear some things that I'm not looking forward to, frankly.
Hey, during the day. Keep your eyes good at.
That's my problem. Which one's the good eye? You look like a jerk staring at the wrong eye. All right, you ready to go? At this time, we're going to call this special meeting, the Hill County Commissioners Board, to order this Monday, November the 20th, 2023. Let the record reflect that it's 8:31 a.m. This meeting was posted for 8:30, so we're in compliance, and this meeting has been posted with Texas Government Code 551, better known as the Open Meetings Act. This meeting is being both held and open to the public with everybody here and online. We've had nobody. I've already checked to sign up to speak before 8 o'clock this morning, as our rules require. So we won't have any online. Being a special meeting, we're going to jump right into open forum. Is there anybody here for anything to say in our open forum this morning? Yeah, no.
15 seconds to say what you.
Yeah.
Can we mention the meeting on December the 14th?
Well, I'm going to take this as my opportunity to do so. So, you know, this is a special meeting today. The way it worked out is because it was the last day that we could canvass the vote according to statute. We're going to have a meeting next Tuesday, which is our regular meeting, right? Well, going into December, we're going to hold a special meeting on the 14th day of December.
In this room.
In this room, we're going to post it. And we're inviting all of our colleagues throughout the county, all of our mayors, our superintendents, our emergency management coordinators from different cities. Anybody with a game, you know, ESDs, care flight, our sheriff's department, obviously, any law enforcement. We have been talking for 18 months about the coming eclipse that's going to happen on April 8th, 2024. And we need to have some conversations at this time about what the realities of the situation are. And I don't think a lot of our smaller neighbors have believed us that we're going to see our population go 10 times what it is. I think there's enough intrinsic evidence now to show that that's going to happen, especially with the number of cities we've spoken to throughout the United States. They brought their people down here. The city of Hillsborough has done an outstanding job of their coordination. That's going to happen, and we need to be making plans for it. And more importantly, we need to make everybody understand this. The cavalry is not coming to the rescue. We will be on the line of totality just south of Hillsborough, just through the town of Aquilla, right across the county from the southwest to the northeast. We will have about 4 minutes and 30 some odd seconds, roughly, of line total eclipse. Well, that's pretty good. One of the longest ones in a long time. But Dallas Fort Worth's going to still have 2.5 minutes. Waco's going to have 3, and they're going to have all kinds of people and already reporting their no vacancies in their hotels. Those are going to have folks. So we're not going to be able to draw extra officers from there, extra resources from there. We have long since called April 8th a holiday to shut this courthouse down. It's not a holiday in the sense of, hey, we're going to get off a party. We've closed the courthouse for this reason. We need every available person on the street. That means our bailiffs, they've all got cars. We're going to need them. We're going to have commissioners' hands at work that day, out with their trucks to help out with issues that develop on the road. Everything from pulling people out of the mud to running traffic accident, diversion of traffic. We know TxDOT is limited in their resources, and not until just recently did they start taking this serious as far as I'm concerned. So we need to have a conversation inside of Hill County regarding what we're about to come up on. And I'm not scared about it. We've been planning 18 months, like any FEMA disaster, is how we're treating this. We just need to make sure that everybody's still on the same page and that they know what to expect coming up. So we've asked our partners in the schools sometime back to close the schools. They've done so on April 8th. We're very grateful for that. So that limits the problems we might have there. But again, it tends to rain sometimes in Central Texas in April. And what we're seeing is a number of people renting out their fields. We'll collect cotton this year, so we'll hold off with that field. That makes some extra income. And that's wonderful. But at the same time, if it rains, you get 100 people stuck in the field in the middle of nowhere. How do you get them out? Or more importantly, if you can't get them out, how do you get 50? Yeah, exactly. That's 50 times 100 fields. How do we get medicine? How do we get food, water, sanitation? How do all these things interplay? What are realistic expectations to happen? So I'm not preaching doom and gloom. That's not where we're at. I'm just saying a little bit of planning is going to go a long way. And to understand why the county has taken April 8th, it's not a holiday. It's just a day the courthouse is closed, if you'll recall. The reason for that is we're going to clear out downtown. Let me explain this. So I just came back from Bernie, Texas last week. I was there at a conference, and Bernie is a neat little town. I spent a lot of time at as a young man in the 80s, 90s. And it's a town that has grown exponentially in population. I think population about 4 times what it was when I was a kid. But what didn't grow is streets. There's 2, Cipolo Creek runs through. So there's about 2 main crossings on it. Yeah, any of those lights, you're going to sit there 10 minutes on the light just trying to get across the creek. And that was just regular Tuesday afternoon. It was like that all week. So what I'm saying is, as we get more people in here, we don't have more roads, we don't have more space. It's going to become imperative that we made plans ahead of time, because you're not going to be moving around this very well. Response times are going to be slowed down with traffic. Again, something we need to take into consideration and plan ahead for. I'm just simply saying we're going to hold a meeting on the 14th. We're going to invite all of our law enforcement friends. We're going to invite all of our mayors. And Tom and Chris have been running this thing up. So we're going to call it. So the commissioners are here, have questions about how this is going to go. We're going to have presentations, a couple of different presentations to share with the group. It'll take about an hour and a half, but I think it'll be well worth everybody's time. So that's my open forum.
I think we're supposed to go ahead and post.
Yes, sir. Okay, we'll do. I'll get that knocked down. December the 14th. I brought my phone out for the simple reason to talk about time of day. I think on that day, I was looking at an 8:30 a.m. meeting as well. If that's doable for everybody, not too far. That's a Thursday, and
Tom said at 9.
well, 9 o'clock's fine. 9 o'clock is fine. So we'll shoot it for 9 then. I don't want to break anybody's coffee time, Okay, so what we'll do is post a meeting for December the 14th at 9 a.m. in this courtroom, and hopefully we'll have a crowd. All right, well, we'll get along to business then. If anybody else for open forum this morning, if not,
Just to let you know,
yes, sir.
we stopped all vacation during that time. We've already planned out everybody what we want.
Thank you. Thank you, Sheriff. I appreciate you letting us know.
The meetings with Bill Sura, and I know Chris has been working on the scheduling some of the places to try to get people to register if they have any events outside the city limits. So we'll know where the large gatherings will be, hopefully.
I'm with you. I appreciate you guys. I will tell you, I've seen either yourself or Chief Deputy Robbins at every one of those meetings I've been to in the last 18 months. I appreciate you guys following along, taking it as serious as it is. I appreciate that.
Well, one of the things that I think we need to really come up with a plan for, what are we gonna get to? we've got to stop all, that's just no.
Well, I mean, there's different, yeah.
We had talked about Mike over in Whitney, sometimes whenever they start getting on, we'll cover some of the pumps to conserve fuel. But I mean, if we had some way to acquire a tanker truck to where we could put fuel if we had to.
Okay, well, that's something we can have a discussion about, and I'm open to that, whatever we need to do, so.
Judge, doesn't, Mr. Lake have the account with our testing go up already?
I don't know, I presume he does,
And we can,
and then Mike,
all we need to do is add your stuff that we can get on that really immediately right there.
well, that's not as easy as it sounds. The good news is that our bids are taken for fuel by department because of the amount of the bid. We will be putting out for bids in early or late January, and our new bids hopefully be in place like April 1st as our habit each year. So we'll take that into consideration during our bidding process, but simply because he has an account there doesn't mean all of us can use it simply because of the way bidding is done. But again, that's going to be resolved 7 days before this event, so we'll take that into consideration. Yeah, much better than pushing, yes. All right. Well, I don't want to get. Oh, yeah.
Provide.
Well, that's something we need to explore those conversations too at this time. See, that's the great questions that I'm not going to have that issue, but you will, and commissioners may or may not. But that's something to think about for sure. That's a 3-day, it's considered 3 days there. I figure they'll start coming in Friday night and Saturday, Sunday, and stay here Monday. I know the city of Hillsborough is requesting people, attempting to lure people in that evening. You know, one of the big problems Monday is that mass exodus, and then we're talking about 35 just becoming a long, narrow parking lot, trying to retain people here that extra day. But these are conversations and questions. And December 14th won't be the last meeting, guys. We'll have that meeting, and if we need to have follow-ups on it, we're happy to do that. But there's only so much we can think of, and I need the input from other individuals, like what the sheriff was just saying about fuel. That might be something that naturally I wouldn't think of, but you will. And so that's having everybody at the table is going to be benefit. All right, guys, appreciate it. We're going to move along today this morning into our court orders. The first number, and the real reason we're here today is this is the last day the Canvas November constitutional amendment election. We didn't wait to the end for no reason, but when you have to balance two things, A, the overseas ballots coming in, and B, the 72-hour rule for posting a meeting, you have a meeting on a Monday sometimes. So Mr. Torres, our elections administrator, with us this morning. Tell us what we have, sir.
Well, you gentlemen have in front of you the canvas reports for this election. Of course, up front is just where I am certifying that the numbers are true and accurate statements.
Okay.
The report that follows that is the canvas report that gives a breakdown of each one of the propositions through each precinct. And then the secondary report that is behind it is cumulative. It just gives an overall breakdown of each one individual.
I was somewhat surprised to see the turnout for this. Typically these, and I mean, 17.79 is nothing to pat ourselves on the back out, but unfortunately it is higher, I believe.
It is definitely higher than normal.
So I appreciate the people of Hill County coming out and having their voice heard. Wish more of them would do it, but that's a good start.
So we ended up with a total of 4535. In history, I'm off by 2. I'm at 4533.
And when we say off by 2, can you kind of walk us through what that actually means?
I'm showing right now, so there's a grand total of tabulation of 4535. In history reflected in there, it's showing that we have 4533. That means that we have that many that are reflecting history, the actual voter registration system. So we're only off by 2 overall.
So historically is 2 about where things lined out?
I mean, since I've taken over, we've been within 5 more often than not. So this is even better.
Just for the public at home, people are going to say, well, what happened? You can't count votes. What needs to happen with these things? Because there's some human error that can happen.
People will show up and just kind of argue their way into getting a ballot. They will swear up and down that they're at this location and that they don't want to go anywhere else. And sometimes you'll get a judge that's intimidated by that and that allows them to go ahead and vote. They've turned around and voted in the wrong location. So now that throws off the whole list of check-in because they're supposed to be at precinct 10 and they voted at precinct 6 instead. So there's stuff like that we have to dig out and find. And of course, a lot of the stuff doesn't end up where we would like for it to end up. It gets stuck somewhere in a box, between paperwork that's got tape on it. And so it's just having to dig out all of that all the time.
And I agree. And as I wanted you to state that so they can hear from you, what we see is that there's human error in anything we do. And that's unfortunate. Now we have reduced this significantly. I remember what these things used to be 10 years ago, and that was unacceptable. But that being said, we do train our election clerks and our election judges to be firm. And some people complain, well, they weren't very nice to me. You know, you have to remember they're dealing with folks all day. And just as you see that person in the grocery store that'll act a horse's rear, they'll do the same, if not worse, sometimes in a voting booth. And just like Mr. Torres said, sometimes it's people make mistakes because they're arguing with somebody trying to do their job at the same time, take care of the rest of the public. We do a lot of training. You know, you wish there were zero mistakes, but when they are, we have to be honest about it and account for it. So 2 is again a number that's pretty good.
We did run into a few issues here and there, of course, but nothing that we could mitigate on the spot and get taken care of after the fact.
Okay.
If needed be. Of course, we had one of the check-ins that went down where the Java wasn't wanting to work with the actual software, and it just kind of died right there. We couldn't get any of the totals off of it for check-in. We actually had to find those manually and enter those.
Oh, wow.
But of course, we did talk with Philip thereafter, and he showed one of my deputies a roundabout to get that to come back up and actually work properly. So then we actually got the data to flow after.
Oh,
that.
good deal.
So, but that is something definitely we're going to be looking in here soon, is that the check-in system is going to be needed to be updated here soon.
I understand you're working with emergency management and looking at maybe a grant you guys are going to apply for. Okay.
That's correct. Not sure how much it will cover, how much the actual new check-in systems will be. We got the one, we're waiting on a quote from who we have currently. We will be looking into others.
Okay.
Just to do our due diligence for sure and see if there's anything out there that's better for us.
Sounds good. All right. Anything else special we need to note in this canvas?
Nothing to my recollection right now.
All right. Well, I'm glad to see the turnout's up. I think that's a huge plus for any democracy. So, any questions from Mr. Torres? Aaron, thanks for doing the job you do. Appreciate it. Not a lot of people tell you thank you, and I've seen how some people say the opposite of thank you on election days. But,
Yeah.
we're appreciative of all you've done to make it easier to vote, and you know, especially in the early vote business. So, do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
I have a motion and a second. The following is a tabulation of votes cast, determination of results of the voting in Hill County November 2023 proposition election held Tuesday, November 7, 2023. And whereas pursuant to law, the canvass of the votes of the respective election precincts in Hill County was prepared and signed by the Hill County Elections Administrator for said respective precincts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, and have this day been delivered to the governing body of officials of Hill County Commissioners Court. Now therefore be it resolved by the Hill County Commissioners Court as the governing body, this ruling body has met and received from the Hill County Elections Administrator the results of the November 2023 proposition election held Tuesday, November 7, 2023, and verifies the tabulation herein as attached, and has this day canvassed the returns and hereby determine the number of votes cast in elections attached in the summary report, precincts report, and official results reported to be verified. It's going to be a heck of a motion. We type that up, but I'll show you where you can copy and paste it. All right. If there's no further discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Gentlemen, I'll pass this around to place for each one of you, including Ms. Tanner, to sign. All right. Well, we're going along. Number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6. We're going to, but these are all setting hearings for a future date for the installation of traffic control devices. So the first one, and I would like to propose a uniform date of January 9th. We're already holding a public hearing for another matter. We had last court on that. And that gives us plenty of time to get things done. We don't try to squeeze it in that holiday meeting on the 27th, which I don't think anybody appreciate that anyway. So in order to be transparent, I think the 9th is the best date. So be my motion that we discuss and approve setting a public hearing for the installation of traffic control devices in the form of 35-mile-an-hour speed limit sign along Mohan Drive.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Number 3, discuss and approve setting a public hearing for the installation of traffic control devices in the form of 35-mile-an-hour speed limit sign along Sharon Drive. Motion second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Number 4, discuss and approve setting a public hearing for the installation of traffic control devices in the form of 35-mile-an-hour speed limit signs along Juniper Cove Road.
Make a motion.
That was probably long overdue. So motion and a second. Any further discussion on Juniper Cove Road, 35-mile-an-hour speed limit? Hearing none, I call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstentions, motion shall carry. Number 5, discuss and approve setting a public hearing for the installation of traffic control devices in the form of 35-mile-an-hour speed limit signs along Timberline Drive.
Make a motion.
Motion to second, motion Hawkins, second, Jim, and all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. That brings us to number 6, and that's a little different. I had to do some research. So discuss and approve setting a public hearing for the installation of traffic control devices in the form of speed bumps at regular intervals with Timberline. This is a fascinating, we can do that with some caveats. So first, a public hearing like any other traffic control device, because a sleeping policeman is a traffic control device. But number 2, we got to get TxDOT sign off on that one. So we can hold a public hearing and vote to do it, but until TxDOT, even though it's not a state road, TxDOT has to give it its blessing. So I would propose that we move forward by setting this public hearing with the understanding, even if we have a public hearing and we get it approved in this body, that it's still contingent upon TxDOT's approval.
But between now and then, can I move forward to get the
See why not?
specifications for, because that's why I think TxDOT has to review it, is to give you specifications for the speed bump, depending on the width of the road, length of the road.
No doubt. And they're going to consider the traffic on that road as well, more than likely, and they conduct a traffic study of the process when it sounds like. They will determine lines of sight, speeds, the whole 9 yards. So one of the things that, you know, you've already got that 35-mile-an-hour speed limit, you're going to hang them there. I think that's going to go a long ways to help them out. But yeah, I think there's no problem approaching them now. Obviously, we can't put the bumps in until we have a public hearing, if and when commissioners, but if we can get that process started, that'll help.
Send all the documentation to Jim or to you
Or
for this road. Where did I have a tow truck driver get something out of my front yard?
Jim,
I have 3 other people.
I have no road and bridge authority. It sounds fun, but Jim's really the guy you need to talk to. Yeah, no problem. I didn't run for precinct 1 commissioner. I knew.
It's happened 4 times, because someone's made it all the way to my flower beds at my front.
Good God.
Yes, and then the last person who got in trouble.
Remember that? Remember that? Yeah, no, we're trying to do something, slowing it down. You know, posting it is one thing, keeping the signs up is something else. Those kids down there and the adults, they still a whole post now. Well, what we can do by posting it properly, everybody has a record. We can hold them accountable. You know, they're going to go out and recreate that accident scene. They're going to figure out how fast they were going pretty quickly and then sit there posted. And most people will obey speed limit or within, you know, locks keep honest people honest is what they say. The same thing about speed limits. You're always going to have those horses patoots that just want to do what they're going to do, the hell with everybody else, and heck with the consequences. We have to learn about the side to live with those folks, but putting speed bumps in there, if that is allowable, if TxDOT gives us the go ahead, would help that enforcement action considerably. Yeah,
The signs will probably last about 2 weeks.
yeah, that's all.
I'm gonna look for some kind of GPS tracking to put on the sign.
Oh, put an RDIF tag on it or something?
And, you know, at least we'll know where it goes, is not on product around.
Well, that would be interesting. I mean, we couldn't do it to every sign in the county, but if the ones that disappear on an often basis, we can find a way to hide a geo-tracking tag on them. Apple tile or whatever, that'd be fun.
Then you just etch a little square into it, drop it in and laminate it.
We'll say we did that, yeah. I'm thinking of how the warrant would work on that, but yeah, we would have probable cause at that point, clearly to do that. You know what? That sounds like if we need to investigate this, this might be fun. That would ruin some people's days.
Somebody else is already going on this.
I bet you're right. We just need to find it. I mean, the expense is, you know, the expense is the whole reason we haven't done it. But now that you got these things like this Apple AirTag, they don't have to have a cell signal. They basically work off anybody got an iPhone. Half the population got an iPhone in their pocket. So anytime you see an iPhone, this thing tracks worldwide. Man, you got on something. I want to look that up. Yeah. Anyway, so the action requested before the court is number 6, discuss and approve setting a public hearing for the installation of traffic control devices in the form of speed bumps at regular intervals on Timberline Drive.
Motion.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any? You opposed? Okay.
I think that's a bad thing to start. I think
Oh, okay.
Ken
Fair.
Lawrence.
Hey, I appreciate an honest opinion.
Yeah, I've already had people want them on a gravel road. It's like, no.
Yeah. Okay, so the motion's going to be 4 in favor, 1 against, and I know your concern, and I do share some of those concerns. I'll be frank with you, but my experience with TxDOT, I'm almost certain this is going to get past TxDOT. I'm willing to try it to see how it works out.
I had some people made their own
Remember that?
and they cracked the windshield and 3 or 4 cars ended up out in the ditches. Because the gravel road, you can't see it,
Yeah.
especially at night.
Well, part of the deal with speed bumps, we're going to have a duty because it's going to be an impediment road. We're going to have a duty to mark that, like, stripe the speed bump. Yeah, it's going to be a chore to upkeep it, I think. But because if we don't upkeep it, it's exactly what you're talking about. You're going to have people doing their best Dukes of Hazzard impersonation in the middle evening hours. So,
And our constable probably won't do anything.
well, that's your constable. I got good ones. Yeah, you're not even listening.
I say our constable probably won't do anything.
He's busy right now.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Oh, man, that's terrible too. Yeah, get me out of the line of fire here. All right, moving on to number 7, discuss and approve declare county property as salvage surplus for Hill County. Who put that on here? Okay, good. I was like, somebody got to have a list. I don't know. I don't have the list in front of me. And as Paula has her tradition for the last 17 years, has a huge family. And the week of Thanksgiving, she takes the week off. So I don't have the benefit of having Miss Paula here either. She's cooking. So what do we got for salvage surplus property today?
Yes, so this is for the units, office equipment, and all of the items are.
Okay. I'm gonna put her on the spot because I see her over here. Hey, Leanne, I see you hanging out over there. Turn the microphone on, Rory. Wait, please. Maybe she's just doing that to make us think she's watching us, but she's not really watching us. It's like that when they park that police car with nobody in it on the side of the road. Very effective technique, but all right, well, she's not here. So basically a bunch of office junk that needs to go.
Correct.
Okay, and you have a list of the
We did what we did.
I'm sure, yeah. No, I wasn't here last week. I was at conference, so I imagine I have it in my files. I just need to get a copy to Mrs. Tanner. So anyway, as requested by the county auditor, I move to declare the property that he has on the list for the Texas Extension Service, well, I guess it's actually Hill County AgriLife Extension Service, as salvage material because it has no, I'm saying salvage because it has no longer any value for its originally intended purpose.
Right. And
good.
See the 500 threshold.
Okay, but individually it does not. Yeah. No. Okay, good. All right. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. And we're asking to put this in the receptacle or?
That's one some clarification on that, where essentially you can move it.
And we're talking about things we can throw in a dumpster, right?
Correct.
Okay, nothing that would be batteries or tires or,
No.
okay. Well, then, I make a
It's desks and equipment.
oh, yeah, I make a motion that, we, what you got? I'm trying to make a motion to throw in the dumpster. Suddenly Ken's like, yeah, I'm gonna let this come to its natural conclusion. I might have something else to do. Anything you want over there? No? All right. Which case I'll make a motion that we 86 all this stuff that we allow the AgriLife Extension folks, because the value is less than $500 for each piece of this, the chunk it.
Second.
All right. So motion and second to dispose of this property in a modestly priced receptacle. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Difficult. Moving along then, so we have the chapter 59 reports. You'll find those as an email. I have a copy, hard copy. And these are the chapter 59 reports that we approve each year for the auditor of Hill County to do for us. Our auditor once again was so kind as to get this done. And of course, chapter 59 is your seized funds. So every law enforcement agency is part of the county. That means each constable's office, the sheriff's office, prosecutor for the county attorney's office, prosecutor and district attorney's office, all these folks must find these chapter 59s. Go ahead, Sub. What do you got today, sir?
And primarily, this report just addresses the movement within two of our funds, 236 and 237. So
Okay.
this year, we had 6 cases that were either defaulted on or agreed judgment on.
Okay,
And so whenever that happens, we have movement within 236 and 237. Two things this report primarily addresses is the starting and ending balances, which you'll see on there for 236 and 237, and also the movement of the cases.
okay.
Another thing is the collective inventory of seized items that we are currently holding.
That's something I have not seen before,
Right.
and I like it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. And so part of the reason for that number to be 91,000 collectively so high is that a lot of those cases still haven't reached an agreement. They're not in a resolved or dismissed status, so they're just sitting there open.
Okay,
And I discussed with Mark also on that, and he absolutely said that they just are not able to close on those cases. That's why we're still sitting in a seized status.
okay.
So if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I'm just fascinated with some of the stuff we've picked up over the years, and we don't list things within our vehicle ID number, but everything from vehicles to printers and copiers to flat screen TVs to ammunition to, we still got those 2 jet skis. You're gonna take those out next summer to patrol the lake. I think it'd sink faster than the Titanic at this point. Just the amount of junk we wind up with when it comes from criminal investigations and busting drug dealers. So good job by our law enforcement, our prosecutors. We appreciate it. And I'll make a motion that we observe and record the chapter 59 report for the Hill County District Attorney for this fiscal year 2023.
Question.
Yeah.
What happens to the seized assets?
Well, Steve was saying a second ago, once there's a resolution to the case, either there's an agreement that is going to turn it over or we win by judicial fiat. Then at that time, the attorney or whoever has it, let's say anyone, whoever's the entity can move to liquidate those and turn them into cash or get rid of them or use them themselves. So there are some entities that actually get cars that are worthwhile using and they turn those into vehicles that the entity can use. You'll see there's some stuff in here, some ammunition. I don't know what size that ammunition is. Maybe we use it, maybe we don't. So there's a couple different routes it can go, but ultimately it comes down to their ability to use those funds for something else for the benefit of the office. So like right now, if you look at the Hill County District Attorney's report, look at that first page, seized funds. You've got beginning balances of 159,203. And then if you go onto that next page, you see that during this reporting period, amount seized by employees of your agency, 0, because district attorney didn't technically seize it. And then you go to that next page and amount seized by other agencies, 6,416. Total amount of all forfeiture petitions filed for all agencies you represent, $2,890. Total amount of forfeitures pending for all agencies you represent, $150,794. Interest earned on those seizures, $911. Amount returned to defendants, because we do that too. We don't just pick stuff up and say this is ours now. There's due process and you respect people's constitutional rights. So $23,558 was returned to defendants. Amount transferred to the forfeiture account, $27,431 that they agreed to let us have, or the district court said we should have. And so you seize funds, ending balance. Anyway, and then you keep going through these. That's the seized funds, and then forfeited is a different category. It's really a fascinating report, and we didn't get to see this in the past. So thank you for sharing this with us.
Absolutely. And it also matters. We're diving really deep into it, but it also matters which agency collected it. The split isn't always 70-30. So there's variances in a split. Sometimes it's the agreement is 80-20, but Mark is working on unified 70-30 across the board split. So going forward, that happens.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so that money, he will use it to go back and fund his offices. The sheriff's department uses that money to go back and fund portions of their operations that are outside the normal county budget. So, I don't want people to get the impression that we're all about asset forfeiture. That's not the case. You know, everybody's got a right to due process, but if you commit a crime and in the process of that crime, you're found guilty and you drug running and you're running money, we're gonna take that from you. That's part of the penalty. You're making meth in your house, we're gonna take stuff from you. That's all there is to it. And that is part of the penalty of committing crime in any county in the state of Texas. And most states in the union have the same process. So, and this is our report to show transparency. This is what we've taken. So anybody can go, well, what do you do with that? Here it is.
You made a motion?
I made a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the district attorney chapter 59 report for fiscal year 2023. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstention? Motion shall carry unanimously. Do you have a copy of this already?
I think so.
Okay, good. If not, I'll leave it with you best. Number 10, discuss and action on invoices. Gentlemen, you'll have a short set of invoices here that was provided in an email to you last week. You'll see that a lot of this is just, we got uniforms, Client Refrigeration. That's for the extension service. It had check a unit out there, and the filter services that we run through them. Compact construction equipment, don't know who that was. It's a new vendor is the only reason I mentioned it. I'm familiar with them, but there's nothing in here that gives me any pause for concern. Everything from oil changes to 911 or buying correction tape. So yes.
Make a motion approved.
Motion and second to approve the invoices presented this date. Any further discussion on said invoices? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it, the noes know it. Commissioner Crumpton.
Make a motion, John.
Motion, second. We stand adjourned. Thank you for your attention to these matters today. All right.